So the challenge is going to be that it's going to be harder to get patients on ventilation, but it's going to be easier to get them on RAD devices, as I mentioned before. So if you think about that, that means that now you've got a product like ventilation's uncapped and averaging $800 to $1,000 per patient per month to manage that product forever because it's frequently serviced, versus you've got a product that is a RAD device, a bilevel, but in the bilevel device, even though it's capped at 13 months, this new policy goes directly to a RAD with a backup rate, which is obviously higher reimbursement. So it skips EO470, goes to EO471, and that means it skips the RAD without a backup rate and goes directly to one with the backup rate. So what does that mean for you? Well, that means you still have to get a lot more patients on service under that RAD with backup rate to match what you would get on a ventilator. But it means that you can also really focus on that side of the business, because if you think about those patients on EO471 or RAD with backup rate, a lot of those patients eventually will fail and will need ventilation. And so now you've got them on your service and they're going to stay on your service. And at some point, they might need to advance to the next therapy. Sometimes they may not. But either way, this is a higher margin part of DME. Than oxygen or the other things that we're used to. It's not quite as good as ventilation, but now your ventilation up here, the rest of the respiratory is over here. Now you've got kind of a step in the middle with RADs with backup rate, but you got to think about how do you manage that and kind of what that process looks like. So there's a lot that's going to go into that, but the opportunity is that maybe you get less vents. I do think that there are some payers out there that currently Medicare Advantage plans that are not approving ventilation because they've created very strict guidelines that they're going to have to back up and follow this NCD now. And so in doing that, when they back up and follow that, it may open up some of the larger payers. I won't mention names, but most of you guys know that the burdens that we face with that in the industry. So those guys who have been blocking ventilation for a long time, it may open it up where now they cover ventilation in certain instances based on this NCD that they weren't covering before. So if you think about kind of the net gain, if you will, the net gain is that you're going to see overall less Medicare patients going on ventilation. Maybe some Medicare Advantage plans open up and you're going to see more patients going on for two of those major plans that are out there. And then you're going to see more patients going on a RAD device with a backup rate. So overall, I think that it's a net neutral, possibly a net gain, we'll see. But it's definitely not as burdensome or as negative as a lot of people think at this point, because of the fact that it's going to open up other opportunities that you're going to have to change your business for, but still other opportunities to manage these patients and make sure that we take care of them the best that we possibly can.